It's time for another edition of Coach's Corner with women's basketball coach Matilda Mossman.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Coach's Corner with head coach Matilda Mossman, University of Tulsa women's basketball. And we only have one game to go over since we've already kind of reviewed the middle of last week and the game in Philadelphia against Temple. And it's a home game against UCF. And boy, what a game it was. I mean, it was an exciting game. Unfortunately, they got you at the end.
Yeah, we led the whole game, had a 13-point lead in the third quarter, still led by 11 in the fourth quarter. But they pressed us the entire game, and we handled that for the most part until the last probably 4 minutes of the third quarter. I think it just started wearing on us. You know, Erica Wakefield had to play a lot of minutes, and you know, I just think that constant pressure. You know, you beat it, but then it's still coming at you. And we just weren't able to mentally, I think, push through that. 9 of our 19 turnovers were in that last 14 minutes of the game, and they didn't even tie the game until 2-something left. And then we had a couple of opportunities to get the lead back and couldn't convert, missed some free throws down the stretch, and all that adds up. You know, they go down on their end and they make the plays they need to make, and then we're in a situation where we have to foul and they make free throws. So, you know, give them credit. Even though they got down, they continued with what they were doing. Even though early on it wasn't successful, they just continued with it, and it eventually just wore us down.
And so what did you do well in the first 30 or 35 minutes?
Well, we handled their pressure. I mean, even though when we got down there, we were only maybe had 15 to 20 seconds to run an offense, we handled it. The thing that we still didn't do well early on, we didn't box out. We just were horrible at boxing out. Just couldn't. I mean, and they've got 4 guys that average about 7 rebounds a game or more. We have 1. And we just physically could not match them at all of the different spots we needed to match them. And they're physical, they come at you hard, and that's a credit to them. I mean, they go do what they are allowed to do. And you know, we just could not get them boxed out. They would get second chance opportunities, and maybe they didn't score all the time, but they just continue, even physically, to wear you down.
Yeah, 19 offensive rebounds for UCF in the game, but your first shot defense was really good.
Yeah, I mean, we held them to a pretty good shooting percentage. We just couldn't get the second one, or we would give up an offensive rebound and then foul. Even in the first quarter, a lot of our fouls were simply we gave up an offensive rebound and then we fouled on the second shot and put them at the free throw line, and you can't do that.
Erica Wakefield did lead you, and of course she's kind of one of the young ladies that helped you break that press, and she had 15 points in the ball game. She continues to be one of your more consistent players, doesn't she?
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to describe Erica. She's just consistent. She continues to give you the same thing night in and night out. Even on nights that maybe she isn't scoring as well, she will still get assists, or she will get steals. I mean, she'll find some phase of the game to be good at, and it just goes back to us not doing a good enough job inside on the boards, and then allowing them to score points off our turnovers. You know, I think they had 18 points of our turnovers, and then they get a lot of points right in the paint. And so we just if it had been a 37-minute game, we win.
Yeah.
But that last 3 minutes is, they only led for a minute of the game, and that's where it just finally got us.
Well, and speaking of inside game and rebounding and all of that, Tyjae Scales was ill and unable to play. That left you a little bit thin on the bigs, didn't it?
It left us really thin. Tyjae was key at Central Florida. She rebounded, she defended, she ended up fouling out of that game, but we needed her. And we knew coming in Saturday morning that she didn't feel well, there'd be a chance she wouldn't play, and then as it got closer to game time, it was apparent she would not be able to go at all. And that really hurt us, because then she plays the 4 and 5 spot for us, and the 4 spot's kind of our weakest position. Liesl Spurl gets 2 fouls in the first 2.5 minutes, so she has to come out. Jess Ponganis is her replacement. In the first quarter, she gets an elbow to the forehead and has to leave and go get stitches. So then we put Addie Richards in. Addie gets 2 fouls right away. We put Jasmine Butler in to play a 4 for a couple of minutes, and Jazz hadn't played the 4 all year long. And then finally, Jess has got her stitches and got a Band-Aid, and so she comes back into the game in the second quarter. And so it was just bizarre the way things kind of happened, and the fact that we had to use so many people in one position, and knowing that we needed to go against a really good offensive rebounding team, and then we were just shorthanded.
And still, you had a great chance to win the game, and certainly you have to really be impressed, or at least feel pretty good about that trio of freshmen for you. Kendrian Elliott goes 10-7. Shug Dixon and Alexis Golden both had 9 points in the game. Those players continue to develop, don't they?
They do, and unfortunately for Kendrian, she got in foul trouble early. And then got in foul trouble again in the third quarter. So she sits the whole second quarter. She sits half of the third quarter and half of the fourth quarter. So she ends up only playing 17 minutes. She still gets 10 points and 7 rebounds in that 17 minutes. So obviously it would have been nicer to have had her on the floor for another 10 to 15 minutes. I think that would have helped our inside cause for sure.
Well, UCF wins the game at the end. Final score was 62-58. And in a moment, we'll be back and we'll talk about the week coming up on Coach's Corner with Matilda Mossman.
We are American. We are the spark that ignites. Dazzling, brilliant, intense. We are plugged in with the volume turned up all the way. Because on this court, on any given night, the energy of 5 becomes the power of 1. That's power. We are power.
We're back on Coach's Corner with Matilda Mossman, and I don't want to get all retrospective with you, but 4-8 as we look at the standings. Gosh, if you were 5-7, what would that mean? You'd be right up there in the middle of that mosh pit, so to speak.
Well, and look at the standings with us with 8 losses. We've already played UConn twice. We've played Temple twice. We've played USF once. That's 5 of our 8 losses right there.
Right.
And then Tulane's the number 4 team, and we've played them once already, so there's another loss. So 6 of our 8 losses have been to the top 4 teams, and some of the teams in our league haven't played those guys, and unfortunately won't play all of them twice. Some of them haven't played them the first time, though. So things will still change a lot as people go against UConn, people go against Temple, people go against USF, and even Tulane. So we're just trying to hold our own, trying to hold our own and control what we can control, and then wait and see what happens with some other teams.
And for sure, hold serve at home Wednesday against Houston. Maybe a little payback. Let's hope. It was way back, beginning of January 1st, I believe, on New Year's Day. You lost at Houston, first game of the year in the league.
Right. It was first game of the year. It was an early game on ESPNU, New Year's Day. And we played horribly. We just did not play well at all. In fact, we got down by 16, I think, in the third quarter. Fouled way too much, put them at the free throw line 30 times. Had a little flurry at the end and got it close. And a lot of that was led by Erica Wakefield and her getting to the free throw line 11 times. But just couldn't get anything going early in the game. And felt good about the fact that we did battle back and at least try to make a game of it at the end, but certainly feel like if we play a little better here at home, our chances are going to be better.
7 o'clock Wednesday at the Reynolds Center, University of Tulsa against Houston. Then on the road, Coach, on Saturday at SMU, a team that coming into the week is 4-7. Your team is 4-8. So again, an opportunity for you and for your team.
And a team that we beat here at home already. So a team that we're familiar with, and that's kind of what we're running into now. We're playing teams for the second time. So there's some familiarity, but certainly SMU is tough because of their size and their ability to rebound, and obviously that's a weakness for us. So it's going to be tougher in Dallas, but one game at a time. We have to take care of Houston at home first before we can look forward to that one.
Well, Coach, have a great week.
All right, thank you.
Again, don't forget, Houston, Wednesday, 7 o'clock at the Reynolds Center. That wraps it up for Coach's Corner with head coach Matilda Mossman. I'm Bruce Howard. So long for now.